Hello Facebook ads people, I'm Konstantinos, and today the question is very simple. Should you sell one product or many products with your Facebook ads? So I got this question, and when I get a question which I think that we should analyze more instead of answering with text, of course most probably I cover it in most of my podcasts, but let's see it. Hey Konstantinos, thanks a lot for the value you are giving us for free. I've learned a lot with you. By the way guys, the free thing is going to stay consistent up to the point that we reach 50k subs, around that. Most probably at that point that we will have the community rate and everything, I might have some Patreons and stuff, but still it's going to be 90% free. I've learned a lot with you, and yet I consider to have already a few years of experience with Facebook ads. One question I have is, how would you go about doing Facebook ads for a brand that has clearly several winning products, which kind of relate to the same audience but not completely either? I guess it's not the same product, it's never 100% the same audience, but it is in the same niche. Would you do like you do normally, all the creatives in the same campaigns, all assets, or would you separate campaign per product? Let's analyze it. First of all, having one product and selling one product, it's very good, especially at the start, because you're having a pixel that you're training and you're training it for one product, and that means less data that you need in order for the pixel to get trained. This is the philosophy that we had from the dropshippers, creating one item dropshipping stores so that they can train the pixels faster. Now, this is theory and it applies completely, but there is no scaling and there is no sustainable business if you don't have several products. That means that a lot of times these companies were finding one product, then another product next to it, then another product next to it, which were similar, so that they were not going to jump into other niches, because it was going to be difficult again with a pixel actually working with one niche and then just jumping to another niche. That being said, working with several products means that you have different campaigns for different products. You cannot just put them all together. First of all, you need to see if they have the same average order value, because if they don't, you cannot just put them together. For example, if you're selling rings and if you're selling hoodies, which I have a company that is doing that, we always separate the rings from the hoodies, because you might have a sale on the hoodies, which is 3 ROAS, for example, and on the ring 1.8 ROAS, which is still profitable for the ring. So you cannot evaluate which one is good or bad if you put them together, because you're going to have an average ROAS with different average order values, which doesn't make any sense. So you need to have them separately. On the other hand, on the technical side, let me tell you that having one niche with different products, it's totally acceptable and super okay. It's very difficult to have a lot of niches and a lot of different products and train your pixel for that. I have seen marketplaces that they have 15k, 30k, 40k products inside there, many different ones. The only way to advertise on those is with catalogs and product sets that they're going to have different items like shoes, perfumes, clothing for women, clothing for men, and so on, with different catalogs, and try to advertise like this. On the other hand, when you have 5, 10, 20, 30 products in a store which are similar, of course you always have your best sellers, which are getting the majority of the budget, because also in the website, as you can see, 80 or 90% of the sale is coming from the best sellers, and the others, they are just there, the other products. So you're focusing more on them, but yes, you're doing completely different campaigns with completely different creatives for the different products instead of mixing them together. Now, if the products are similar, for example, you have t-shirts and you are having the same price for the t-shirts and stuff, you're just testing the designs, then you can put them on the same campaign and you can make them compete with each other in order to find the winning t-shirt and the winning design. On the other hand, if you have different products, it's going to be different campaigns, and most of the times it's going to be also different landing pages with different categories and so on. So that was the short video for today. This is what you have to do if you have one or several products and how you handle the Facebook ads with them. Don't forget that you can scale one product even by doing more creatives. For example, you have one product which is working, you have 10 creatives inside that are working. You can scale this product even more by doing more creatives. The example that I like to use is the lunchbox always, okay? You might have a lunchbox, and with different creatives, you can actually penetrate different markets. For example, you can have a video which is showing a mom creating some lunch for the children to the school. They put it on the lunchbox, or you can have a household wife that it's actually it's actually making some lunch for her husband, which is a builder. So you have the same product, but you are penetrating different niches for the same product so you can have more sales. So creatives are also very important when you're scaling a product, and it doesn't mean that necessarily you have to scale with different products, but you can also scale the same product with different creatives. If you want to learn more about Facebook ads, you can check my book, my course, or my website. And until we meet again, guys, be creative and be consistent.